Heippa! It's Riikka Kovasin here with a video for Paper Garden. This time I'm making some ATCs inspired by August, or moreover elokuu, which means kind of a harvest month in Finnish. I'm using these vintage lady photos in my ATCs and also adding labels to them. I first thought to make them kind of the highlight duo of the cards, but in the end the vintage photos are the key element and then the labels are just kind of a backing up element. But in this moment I really thought to make them more prominent. I'm using these white ATC sized bits as my basis and first adding a layer of old book paper to them. So I'm adding a piece of double-sided adhesive sheet to the back and then tore pieces out of the old book paper and adhere those to my cards. Next, I'm then adding some colors on top using 3 different distress red inks. These were inspired by the rose stickers I'm going to use for these cards as well. One by one, I press the ink pads to my craft table, add some water on top, and then draw the bases through the pool of color. On top, I then add some acrylic paint, pink one, to a little bit dull the red down because it was quite, well, Halloweenish in a way. I also add some splashes. I then dry the bases. While I dry the bases, I also cut out the vintage ladies from the photos and 3 labels I'm going to be using. Then it's time to make a little kind of reference to post office, and I chose elements that were, well, going with that theme. So these paper garden stamps, but also this kind of postal frame from Chatterbox Studio. I'm then using these just as the frame. I'm first stamping them on top of a colored cardstock and then cutting them loose in a little bit later stage. I'm also adding some stamping to the backgrounds, kind of just adding a little bit of visual texture. Some script, some like wavy lines referencing to postal stamps and then a postal stamp version. Next, I'm then adding the rose stickers in. These stickers that kind of resulted the pinkish reddish color scheme. I'm also making little clusters using a couple of different label stickers and those rose stickers. I'm repeating this to each of the cards. After getting the little label clusters done in the background, I then also cut loose the frames I stamped earlier and ink around the edges of the cards. Then it's time to make the focal points. I'm first adding the frame to the background, then the vintage photo on top, and also an actual old postage stamp there. Otherwise, I'm using just craft glue to adhere the layers, but for the vintage photo, I'm using foam tape to make them a little bit more dimensional. I'm repeating again this stage to all 3 cards. And here they are at this stage, the compositions or the main parts done. Now it's kind of embellishing time. So I'm repeating the same rose stickers on top of the layers. Also bringing something forth that's in the background, kind of making a continuity in the composition. I'm also adding some vintage lace to each card because I felt that they needed a little bit more texture. So I cut these little pieces out of vintage lace and using just craft glue to adhere them to each card. I then use acrylic paint, almost the same color as the vintage lace, to add some splashes on top. I don't want the splashes to come on top of the faces of the vintage ladies, so I secure them using these foam tape leftovers. After the splashes, I then thought that the cards still needed a little bit more texture. Even though I added the vintage lace there, they seemed quite bare. They needed something extra. So I actually went for a stroll, and during that stroll, I came up with an idea because I saw these really dried plants and thought that they would make a great addition to the harvest theme in a way. So I staple a little flower, dried flower, and a piece of hay to each card. With each card, I kind of follow the composition already in there. So going with horizontals and verticals, suiting to each card or the composition I have there. And after that, the cards are actually done this time. Thank you so much for watching. I hope again you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider subscribing and hit that bell sign to be notified when a new video comes live. That should be every Friday. I also have these big playlists, so if you like, for example, paper garden videos, I have a playlist for them, so check that one out. Thanks again so much. I'm hoping to see you within a week. Bye!